Folks, we are going to continue working on art assets for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that we have been building here on stream for the past 118 some odd episodes. Give me a second here just to check my signal, make sure everything's coming through clearly. We'll go through my spiel, and then we'll get into some fresh artwork. So hold on real quick. Let's get into some fresh artwork. Yeah, it does. Coolio. All right. So here's my intro spiel. Let's see. Hi, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing game supplement PDFs that I publish online. I've been focusing my attention specifically on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. In the description down below, there is a slew of links that I have for books I've already created for 5th edition. They're all 100% free previews, so if you were to click on any of the books I created down below, when you go to the product page, you'll see a cover like this, and then underneath it, if you click on it, it'll say full preview, and if you're on a mobile phone, over on the right-hand side, it'll instead have an eye icon. So if whether you click on the full preview link or the eye icon, it means the same thing. That'll throw open a PDF. It'll be the entire document. You can read the whole thing cover to cover. Amongst the books that I have linked down below, there's probably about 150 different illustrations. So if you're an art enthusiast and you want to see more of my work, you can check it out for free there. If you are a D&D enthusiast, the whole intent of building these things is to give you additional tools for you to run your own games. So certainly check them out, and maybe if you find value in them or they're ideas that you find yourself coming back to, maybe they are of enough value that you would consider making a few purchases to help support the stream. But otherwise, let's see, the best way to support the stream is to bump and bump. Help me with like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you can find out about other notifications in the future. And I just published to Twitter. You can also follow me on Twitter at Philkearney, like Filkearney. And with that, we are done with our spiel, so we can dive into some artwork. And we created this book cover maybe like around episode 17 of this 120 session art stream that we're on at this point. But right now, we're going to continue working on the part 2, chapter 4, Light of Xaryxis, the Neogi hunt. We've already created. We created a very basic Neogi line art, very basic Umber Hulk line art. We've created an enslaved crewmate, and let's see, we created the Githzerai, or the Githyanki ship commander that oversees the 2 galleon patrol ships. He runs a squadron, and your team can join that squadron to hunt the Neogi in exchange if you wish. Right now we're going to work on some Hadozi crewmates, but oh man, I am excited. So let me share my sweet efforts. This book is continuing to make progress. I just want to brag up this for a minute here, and then we'll get into the actual artwork of it. So it's coming along. We've gotten ourselves progressed all the way down through, let's see, what we built since we last touched base. Let's see if this can zoom in. We built out the ammunition that we need to build out. That turned out really freaking sitting on the page really, really nicely. And then we have squadrons and fleets, talking about how different vessels and craft and combined mix of craft and vessels can combine into single squadrons, so you can command multiple ships as the same action economy as the ship rules that we described above, just using, instead of multiple weapons, it's multiple ships, so you're blending both the pilot and the siege commander role together to create the squadron commander role. And we have all your statistics, like we had the ship statistics, the weapon statistics, and the crew statistics above. The squadron statistics blends all of those properties together to just create a simple combat squadron unit that you can command and move and command, reload, reset, etc. I'm talking about the crew, get through all that, but all of this is sitting very nicely on the page, and we've got some great blank spots showing up in the text that allow us to put in more diagrams to demonstrate what these different concepts look like visually. So, like I said, a lot of the illustrations that are going to be in this book is going to be using the tokens that we've been producing and placing them on practical maps so that people can see how these things actually sit in a VTT, or if you do all these token printouts, how they actually sit on the page. Fix that. There. And then when we get through the squadrons, we look at fleets, which is when you command multiple... While squadrons are multiple ships that you command and how you attack with them, etc., but fleets are multiple squadrons. So if a fleet is a mobile turret, then a fleet is commanding multiple of these mobile turrets that you can move around and attack with. It's a fleet. There you go. It's just a larger scale combat. And once we get through the fleets, the squadrons and fleets, we're into how to maintain crews and ships. So we have the grading crew ranks, ship lifestyles. What are the impacts of lifestyle on the crew rank? I need to actually update this. This is how we create these tables. Oops, that didn't work. I'll have to come back here and fix this table when I get to it. But anyway, hiring crews, restocking supplies, all this stuff. Making repairs using magic or a shipyard to repair your ship, and then it spills into spellcasting, which is essentially done. We just have to do the same table layouts that we have here, and that'll take us all the way down into exploration, where we have plenty of art space, and we still have to fit all the charts and tables. But this section is essentially done as well, so I'll be spending time on this all off screen. Make sure it sits pretty, and then once we get through the exploration section, we are into hazards. Hazards are essentially also almost done at this point. I want to go over a little bit just to make sure. The creature menagerie is looking really great to complement Boo's menagerie. All of that is sorted out. And then we go into the appendix, which is a random system generator, which we'll have to build out into tables, charts, and diagrams as well. And then we get into the Light of Xaryxis appendix, 25 pages of conversion text, which we have broken up, but I'm not sure if this is how all this text is going to stay. And obviously, it still needs all the tables and dressing and stuff resolved too. So this is a bit away, but it's all feeling like it's coming together. So I'm going to be on vacation from my day job on the 15th through, and I'll go back to work on the 22nd, and then I'll have holiday off on the 29th. So my goal is to get to the point where all this page layout is done by the 15th, so that the next thing we have to do specifically is all the chart, get all the charts and diagrams done, and start working on the maps, the token assets, and then the illustrations, and have this thing done in June. So we're really making great strides here. And so after I've pontificated enough, you guys have a chance to look at this. Obviously, on the DMsGuild, it'll publish, and it'll be 100% free preview, just like everything else that I do. And but all these tokens that we're creating will be assets that you'll get if you purchase it. It'll all be included in a zip file, and you're going to see them over and over again throughout the document. So hopefully you think this stuff is cool. So I set a 20-minute timer. I got through my spiel and my walkthrough in about 10 minutes. That's not bad. So we got about 100 minutes worth of playtime. We are working on Hadozi right now. So it's Hadozi ship crew, right? So how to do. Let's start where we always start, which is with swoops, and we're doing some spin doodling here, just to see how things can sit. I'm getting unexpected vibe, but I'm digging it. Hold on real quick. Let's just finish up spinning here. I'm gonna reset myself in my seat. I hope you guys are having a great day. I had a fantastic regenerative weekend. I hope yours was fulfilling and satisfying as well. We're going to be back on this evening in about 13 hours to work on more Eberron cartography to finish up the underground bunker, and then hopefully on Thursday we're going to move upstairs into the forest edge village. So we're making progress there too. I'm happy, man. I'm having a really great day. So I'm gonna reduce that mess down because I'm seeing some stuff already popping out. I like seeing this here. I like this bend here. I did that. If I gave him like this crouching stance, you can see the draping of the wing draping from wrist to ankle. That doesn't give me a particularly sailor vibe, does it? It's more like a hunter. Like, that'd be cool, like Lone Ranger, sort of. Pardon the pun. Hadozi type character, that'd be pretty cool. But that's not quite the jive that I'm getting from this. I'm gonna stash those. And let's try something different. How to do? Yeah, let's just let the muse run. Come on, baby. Show me where we go. That's kind of cool. Let's see. That's kind of an actiony pose, right? So let's build something out of it. Gotta keep the anatomy of the Hadozi in mind when we're crafting the clothing here, because obviously, as I posted in that short excerpt video, Hadozi cannot put on pants and shirts like other people can because of their skin condition. Do like that. Again, he's an NPC, so I don't want them looking directly at us so much. Hey guys. Had a really great day. I got some dental work that I'm doing today. They're gonna numb out my face and peel open my gums and get some goop out. So that'll be nightmarish. That I want like that. That's kind of cool. On me for a second. Yeah, okay. Everything looks good. Bum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Pardon me. Yeah. I'm digging that skin. I'm digging how those folds are working. That's pretty cool. The posture is kind of garbage. Get that arm in the right position. Not sure. Do you like that, right? Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that. Okay. Like that. That looks cool. And then maybe that down. Yeah, it's looking good enough. So sometimes good enough is just enough, you know? Stash that. Let's go for a cleaner. Cleaner take on the anatomy now. Just going to go through a refining process until we're content with it. I like this cutlass basket look for the Theurgy. That's a horrible blade right now, so shut up, but whatever. It'll look good. It'll end up looking good. So shifting the anatomy around, how it looks a little bit, get that angle changed a touch, pointing forward some. It's feeling pretty good. Watched that Paramount show, 1883, over the past week or so. Boy, that's a fantastic show. There's Yellowstone, and then there's the prequel to Yellowstone, which is 1923, and then the preview, and then the prequel to 1923 is 1883, and 1883 is an amazing show. Yeah, it looks like it's just like a one and done season, and it's just its own little story arc. It doesn't look like it has any reason to continue on as it sits. Holy crap. That is an amazing story. Highly recommend. I did not know what to expect with it. It was incredibly satisfying to experience. Probably some of the best TV I've seen in a long time. There we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Now we're starting to get somewhere with this dude. So we'll do some Braun cartography tonight, and tomorrow we'll be back again to do more token art for Spelljammer, whether it's NPCs or continuing the ship modifications that we've been making. Not sure which, but we'll continue with that tomorrow. And tomorrow also at during lunchtime, we will have a lunch, our Tuesday lunch stream for the martial power system that we've been developing. I had been developing it as an alternate subclass option for barbarians, fighters, rogues, as well as just an alternate magic system in general for monks, paladins, and rangers. But it's becoming evident that it should just be an alternate core resource system that's available to all those classes at first level, and then opt into an alternate option for subclasses for the fighter, barbarian, and rogue, just to make it like the default option, and then build out the power subclass. And we already have the power subclasses, but we're decoupling the martial power mana system from the subclasses and just making it an alternate core system that's available starting at first level, since all of the subclasses are likely going to get punted to third level in 5.5 D&D. I think it makes sense for us to build it out as its own sub power system starting at first level. So that's what we'll be working on. That'll be our effort for Tuesday lunch martial power stream this week. I'm glad I'm slow cooking it as much as I am, because I don't think I would have had that solution if I had released it faster sooner. So I am thankful that we're allowing ourselves the immense amount of time to develop this power project. I think it's only going to serve us well in the end. So that looks pretty cool. Raptor feet. So I'm really looking forward to it. That I'll be doing just development text for that on Tuesday, just so you guys can get another look at stream development, like actual mechanic development workshop. So that for people that are developing stuff, or people that are interested in creating their own PDFs, that'll just be useful content just for you to have perspective about how somebody that is pretty comfortable with creating professional content, take a look at the stuff myself. If you decide it looks professional, then thank you. But that's obviously that's like the minimum level of quality. What I have published already becomes your lowest, your worst work, right? You endeavor to produce better than what you've already produced before. So that so what you see that I've published before becomes, my challenge is to do better, is to create better visual assets, to create a more interesting document, to have better mechanics, better narrative, just better. That is always our goal, to create whatever the theme of the next project is to find a way to be able to build the project so that it's just a better project. One way or another, is always trying to best our previous efforts. Yeah, maybe I do want to have this curled back. I don't know. How can I fill the space best? Let's see. Yeah, probably like that. Okay, basic. I can start building the using our eraser to hack away at the line art that we have so that we can start establishing the type of clothing that he wears. And again, you can't have anything that pulls onto his pants or down his arms because he's got the gliding the glide wings that connect to the ankles and the wrists that prevent that from happening. So everything he has needs to be a strap and clasp sort of affair. And then, as you know, I'm a fan of the toga and the wrap for the majority of the body, and a sort of more of a samurai lamellar sort of armor for the mid-torso. A large, UFC style championship belt that acts as an armored girdle. Toga style cloth underneath the lamellar. Get that lined up so that the belt is twisting with his body properly, so you get that sense of dynamic proportioning going on here. Something like that. Breastplate's okay as long as it's got that side clasp sort of affair going on. Again, it's got that girdle, like it clasps on, wraps around like that, so that there's a seam that you can clip together with a clasp, so that you can just put it on like this and not get in the way of the skin flaps. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's rough, but it's the idea that I want, and it complies with the anatomy issues. So I am pretty happy with that. I think we are okay to move forward. Oh, I got a runny nose apparently still. Why is my alarm not going off? It feels like it should have. Did I pop it already and I just didn't notice? Nope, it never started it. 6:40 now. Perfect. I got 80 minutes left. So we got another 20-minute timer going. Drop the opacity down there, start another layer. This is just a refining process that we go through over and over again. Clean up the anatomy where the sketch is at. So just to remind folks that are stepping into the channel now, we started with this swirl. We ended up with this crouch. We skipped that and moved on to this next swirl. And from that, we pulled this to this. And now we're further refining it from there. So, and as we create new layers, we drop off the layer of the earlier ones so that we're only dealing with the most recent iteration. Go here. Now I'm going to do a real stick and ball style. That anatomy is working out there. Nice. Okay. Again, the more unimportant the NPC is to the adventure as a whole, the more the less you want them looking at you. So you don't form any more of an emotional bond than your character is going to form with the inappropriate NPCs anyway. Continuing to refine. Here. Belt to cover up the gaps in the, I don't know the word for it, the type of armor. Since the anatomy changed. We're getting there. getting there. Clackety clack goes the keys. I think the keys have their own ASMR sort of quality to them. It's a very different. The impact is certainly different. I think the overall appeal is the same. Even that's not great. Man, I'm not loving that blade. I like that scimitar edge. That looks cool. Let's get that handle lined up. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Let's grab this guy's head and drop it down a bit. Oh, that's a good boss. Hell yeah. This guy's looking dope. Make it a little smaller still. Maybe just a touch bigger. There. God damn, this guy's looking pretty dope. Looking pretty dope. That's too much. Let's try. Let's go. Let's see what happens if we do less. Feels right. You know, we can probably bring this in. Yeah, that feels right. One more layer of refinement. I think he'll be good to go. So I'm gonna drop that. Oh, this guy's looking dope. This guy's looking super dope. So let's bring that down. Let's try one more pass, right? I'm gonna grab some more coffee. Hold on, I'll be right back. God, we're making great time today, guys. This is awesome. I am really looking forward to colorizing all of this stuff. It's going to be it's a heavy lift. There's a shitload of tokens that are involved here. I know it's a lot more work that I put on my plate than just the book. I'm really going over the top with this, but I'm hoping that the added value makes it worth for people to make the purchase. So we'll see. Thank you. It is, oh wow, it's only 7 o'clock. I still have an hour. Wow, that's insane. All right, let's make the most of the world we've been given. I don't know. I'm okay with my Hodozi having a hobgoblin sort of feel to it. That's certainly the vibe that I'm getting here. I'm good with it. Wow, that turned out freaking sick. Great work, Muse. You got it going on, sister. Wow, this is already just turning out to be really great. When we finish this book and it publishes, I'm going to do a walkthrough, like a director's cut of the book, where we'll be here on stream, and I will literally walk through every page and talk about it. As a sort of, hey, go buy this book, and we'll be able to do lunch streams. Walking through the book. I have that, if you check out the Elemental Key playlist I have on my channel, on this YouTube channel as well, you'll see I did a page-by-page walkthrough of the Elemental Key book, and that was like a 25-page document. So we'll do the same thing with this, and of course this one's a 100-page document. So folks that are really interested in the document will be able to do the walkthrough with me, and I guess I'll set up a Discord channel so that people can start checking it out, asking questions about the blah blah. Ah, God, I got oil in my eye. Yeah, pardon me for a second. I just heard something weird going on. All right, everything seems to be okay. There's some sort of ruckus. I know those people hate ruckuses. I think this is the proper way here. This bassinet sure doesn't feel like it's encouraging the angle that we're at. No, that anatomy is proper. End up spending an hour on a sword. Go away. I'm just gonna do this. That, and then let's put a tilt to it. Not quite. is the proper way here? That feels right. Hey, G. How you doing, buddy? We got some Armored Hadozi Sailor action going on this morning. Although you can argue my Hadozi look an awful lot like hobgoblins, I'm going to blame history for that because I haven't had to contend with Hadozi, but hobgoblins have always been of a high interest to me. So I recognize the potential flaw here, but I'm actually okay with it. Did you have a good weekend, my dude? I updated the page layouts that I've been building for this document at the beginning of the stream, so you flip back around to the beginning of this afterwards, or if you go catch it now. I did about like a 2-minute look at like where the document has progressed to, and it's the rough draft, like the rough layouts for everything is essentially done. Now I'm going through and I'm refining how everything sits on each page, and once I'm content with that, I get to I'll be able to build out all of the diagrams and charts and stuff. And I don't normally bore stream with diagram production, but I may torment everybody with that if I'm feeling particularly, what's the word I'm looking for, self-destructive. Hey, what's up? So I love the hobgoblins. Yeah, man. I am playing in a, well, let me get my screen fixed here. I gotta figure out how to get this thing done proper. Red Hand of Doom campaign, nice. I'm a big Dargoon fan of Eberron, the fallen hobgoblin nation that still has a chunk of territory that has basically been reservation for the hobgoblins, their shogunates, to still cling to. But I run my Eberron campaign is a space opera where the hobgoblins have basically like a Klingon sort of war nation composed of scorpion and elephant ships. They form their own sort of free league of pirates. So you have the pirates, the 9 pirates of Lazar, or sorry, the 9 princes of Lazar. Thank you. Are like the official pirate nation. But then beyond that, there's also the Dargoon that compete in that same space, at least in my campaign. So the different spelljamming nations like Thrain, Aundair, Karnath, Braylon, they all have to contend with both the Lazar as well as the Dargoon pirates as they try to do trade between the different asteroid kingdoms. It's a cool little campaign. I'll probably eventually build it out into an adventure kit that I'll publish on DMsGuild, assuming that I stay on the DMsGuild, depending on what WotC tries to sabotage themselves with next. We'll see when it finally breaks my back and forces me out of this system. But I'm hoping that I can justify retaining inside of WotC space long enough for me to finish the mass combat system that I wanted to build. Since the mechanics already work, I'd rather build it and use Dragonlance as the proof of concept than creating something completely separate. Because the whole reason I create these systems is because when I look at them and potentially DM them, I'm like, there's severe lack in the kind of game content that I want these adventures and these campaigns to be able to progress, to be able to portray, which leads me to creating new mechanical systems. Yeah. So yeah, I love all these. Thank you. I'm looking for. God's willing, it's going to be done by the end, like before the 4th of July. That is my objective. I don't assume I'll hit that mark, but it's a good goal. And if I miss with that, that probably means I'll hit early August if I can't. So that means I'll have spent a year on this project. So I should definitely set an outside goal of being done by August 17th, because that's when the thing got released. A year later, here's this. So I think that's got a good feel to it. Since you're if you check out the Eberron stuff that I've been building, that's actually intended for professional play, because it has 6 different factions that the players can use as plot hooks that give the characters different resources and goals inside of the adventure, depending on what factions are chosen, either by the DM or the players if it's a one-shot, or you can even randomize as a team or individually what your individual patron and your individual goals are. And then depending on what the goals of the team are and how much time, like how many sessions the team has allocated to complete the adventure, you can either run it as a one-shot starting in Act 3 with a teleportation effect and a very curated list of which objectives that your team has. Or if it's like an ongoing open-ended campaign, it can start all the way back in Act 1 and have all 6 plot lines open and interwoven with each other as you push through the content. So I'm trying to get into a space because I don't have a history of building professional adventures, but I have the depth of experience and system mastery at this point that I can. So when I build out an adventure, I want it to be something that is something that players would potentially want to literally run again, but also have it be in a space, obviously, where DMs, especially paid DMs, are rewarded for like understanding the adventure and how it loops together, and the Joquaid dungeon sort of funneling characters into different decision making that really, I think, lends itself to paid use. So that's something that, again, we'll be working on more cartography for that tonight on our evening stream. And once this is done, certainly by August, then the editing for the adventure, it's a good 100-page adventure. And so there's a crap ton of content, but you only need 20 pages of it if you start in the 3rd act. But if you start from the very beginning with a longer running adventure campaign, then it could last you a good 80 hours if you wanted to play everything through it and like really take advantage of everything. So it's got strong replayability. You can have a team TPK earlier in the session and then boot in a new objective and have the team recover the old dead team, or loot them and keep moving on with different objectives but more information. So a lot of fun ways to be able to spin it. Moment of silence. Let me work on this edge a little bit. It is infuriating me. Good enough for now. If you could have it be way... yep. Thank you. Looking forward to it. And if you can have it be way to get people into Eberron, my co-GM and I, for one, are new to Eberron. Right on. It's fun stuff. I mean, it's a level 8. It's a level like 7, 8. Like you shouldn't be more than 9th level. I like to frame adventures around like what should they not have access to. Like you shouldn't have access to plane shifting to make this adventure work. So like if you have 7 people playing, then you can start at 6th level. If you got like 3 or 4 people playing, like 8th level would be fine. But by the time they get to 9th level, full casters have the resources they have access to are a little bit too strong for the challenges that are inside of the adventure. Good enough for now. Blah, blah, blah. 3. 1, 2, 3. And the whole back 25 pages of this is a conversion guide for Light of Xaryxis using these mass combat system mechanics. So, or the ship mechanics. It's technically not mass combat yet. Well, I guess it is because of the fleet and the squadron mechanics. It allows you to command multiple ships, and of course that really comes in handy at the end of Light of Xaryxis if you decide that you want to actually fight the Citadel. That's fun. We've done that a couple of times with different playtesters. Get this draping figured out for this battle skirt. Toga underneath, plates over, and since the seam of these plates are really far up into the hips, it needs an additional battle skirt over it, like this. So that's kind of a Romanesque kind of feeling to it. But this belt should be tilted a bit more to line up with the... I don't know what these things are called offhand. I know there's a word in Japan for them with the samurai armor, but I've forgotten most of the actual names of the different pieces of the lamellar. For Yori armor. It's been too long since I've worn any. I used to be in a Japanese martial arts group in Arizona that basically trained in samurai armor and did a lot of weapon technique from old war colleges in Japan. Fun stuff. So I used to know a lot of the really small details about samurai armor, like techniques and different, all that stuff. Japanese combat is no joke, man. You have to have these little seams on the inside because they have the skin flap that connect to their wrist. So the clasps that you put around for armor, they have to basically just be really strong greaves, both for the shins and the wrists. And just stick with that same motif for the under thigh. Basically, it's like banded armor. Because Hadozzi can't put on shirts. So when you get a commission, when someone commissions a Hadozzi and the result is them wearing a coat with sleeves, it's like you don't understand the brief. Like if you want to test the merits of a commission for a role-playing artist, check to see if they have any Hadozi art. That's like a really great litmus test about how well do they research and understand the content that they work at when they charge you money for a character, you know? But I'm an elitist snob when it comes to that sort of stuff. I used to take character art commissions. I think I was charging like around $700 per page when I stopped doing character commission art a couple years ago. It's just the money was there. People, the problem is that people that want to spend that kind of money on their character art, it's probably because other people aren't willing to work with you, or the demands that you have for your character is difficult. That's why you're willing to spend so much money on your character. I mean, there's plenty of people that have my same level of quality that charge a lot less. I do it. I charge that much to avoid the headaches, basically. But I push my prices up huge to chase away the looky-loos, basically. If you're willing to spend $700 on a page of art, then yeah, let's talk business, you know? Looking good, buddy. Let's put some tilt in your step. Hell yes, perfect. I totally pay that much, especially if paying for art for my published work. See, not everyone's but that's a real separating line. Like once you get over $500, you really start trimming your audience. So. But I could easily get flooded with work if I was only charging $100 or whatever for a character illustration. And I could be cracking out, you know, probably. Well, I could realistically only probably do 5 commissions a week at 100. You know, if I were like doing this level of quality for like $100 or something, it's like an hour or so. I can only do, even though it's only taking me about an hour to do this. It's there's only like there's an emotional and mental fatigue that goes along with producing lots of art. So, and if you're having to when I'm creating my own art for my own, like I stopped taking commissions because there was too much footwork going on with making sure that the client that I was working with wasn't going to flake on me and securing all the contractual blah and stuff. I just didn't enjoy the business end of it enough. It killed the creativity for me, so I just had to bail out of it. So that's what kind of got me a couple years ago, maybe about 4 years ago now, honestly, started getting into book design, because I was like, well, you know, instead of me having to fight with all these different commissioners for professional art that they're building, why don't I just start creating my own PDFs and start putting my own artwork in it, so I could be my own art director, and you know, however much the books sell for is you know what my art is worth at the time. So that seemed like a much more honest way for me to be able to compete. And now I'm just starting to get into, well, you know, since I'm doing all this stuff, why don't I build a stream and start showing the process behind it, maybe accumulate some folks that are interested in my work this way. And you know, obviously it's working. So. Here. Yeah, globalization really shattered a lot of freelance artists in America, because it's really difficult to compete with like Indonesia. Well, Indonesia's starting to get up there in price already now, but like I believe it was Malaysia and Philippines that were a big challenge for a while, having basically like 1/4 the rate. Basically, a dollar goes 4 times as far in those nations, or at least they did at the time. And so, you know, you could take my work for $700 or this other guy for $200 and get comparable quality. It's like, well, the only thing I can really offer is experience and clarity of conversation. But even that becomes a challenge after a while, and it becomes a challenge for me to outcompete. Like that doesn't become an issue as globalization continues and other online cultures pick up the language. You don't have that advantage anymore. So I just kind of got priced. Basically, I got priced out of the market through globalization competition. But that really opened up the door to being like leaning into the uniqueness of what work you do, like the personality and taking ownership of your own process. That is kind of where social media is at right now. Integrity, legitimacy, authenticity, which is something that artists can provide when they're streaming online. It's like this is, you know, the pain and failure process and seeing the end results succeed, and it has its own workflow that you can walk into, you know, what they do. But I, for one, make it a point to not use AI art for the publications and such. Yeah, it's people that are using AI aren't artists. They're people that want art and are trying to find a way to make it affordable. Artists have the huge advantage of being able to create exactly what they want. Like everything I put on the page of art of my book is like, it's exactly what I intended to be there, and it can be completely relevant to the content on that page, which is a huge edge that artist producers have over other content producers. But you know, it took me, what am I, 48 now? So I started drawing tanks and shit when I was 5, and I started doing D&D stuff when I was 12. So I mean, like, even just if D&D content specifically, like Redbox, Beck Me inspiration, I've been doing that for 36 years at this point. You know, you'd think I'd be better at this point, but we all have our path. So I can't imagine somebody that wanted to get into RPGs now, like creating content that didn't know how to paint themselves. I can't imagine what a struggle that must be for them to be able to try to track down like public, like, you know, what's the word? Public license. Like to find some random piece of art and make it work. Like the most of the AI and RPG stuff that I think that I've been finding is they create a random piece and then they try to create content that makes that random piece look good, because they can't really tell the computer, yeah, I like that, but I need it interacting with this other, like I need it interacting with a bugbear or something like that. Like you can't just tell AI. You can't give AI a real art brief and have it produce actual results that are marketable. It's all random, and you kind of have to build the story around whatever random shit it creates. And it's getting better with anatomy, and it's gonna be strong, and not in a very long time. Like within the next year, it's gonna be like, it'll have hands figured out in the next year. Like the art will be indistinguishable. Like the level of quality will be there, but it kind of just has that AI gloss to it, you know, and people can tell the difference. And it's compelling for content producers to use it, but I think execution is whether the market it will bear it, you know, like whether or not consumers want it or not. I think it's strictly based on how good does it look. I don't know if the audience actually cares. But I think there's a notable difference in presentation if you have an artist that's sculpting content to the page specifically. Anyway, that's my rant. Oh, it certainly provides excellent inspiration. Yeah, me too. Inspiration, definitely. And there's difference between art from an artist and art from an AI. It's really about customization and control. Maybe 5 or 7 years from now, maybe I'll be surprised and it'll be 2, that you'll be able to have that legitimate conversation with the AI about this is what I'm trying to achieve. How can you help me do that? It's not intelligent enough to have that. Like, it doesn't know what a hand is. It just knows that if it draws a hand in this space with this shape, it gets a like, you know. It learns good boy, but it doesn't actually know what a hand is. So you can't really have. It's all random. You can't have that conversation with it. Like, my advantage right now is that while I'm building art for the project, I can go, well, wait a second. If I paint it this way, it'll get the visualization of the mechanics across easier, but that means I need to change the text in the document to make it work better. Like I can draw it this way, but now I have to change how I'm describing it in text. But I have the fluidity to be able to do that because I'm both the writer and the artist in this. I hire an editor to make sure that the way that I'm saying it is smart. But once those patterns are established, I can freely rewrite mechanics, like the text that's been checked out, because I can use the language that the editor helped establish in the document. So I can break out, like, I don't necessarily have to ping the editor again. It's like, hey, I changed the numbers and the words on these things and the verbs and stuff on these, but the sentence structure is still there, so I don't have to harass the editor about it. The editor is there to, again, establish what language is appropriate for the document that you're working on. And once you have that locked in, you're much more open to freewheel and like move text around in different order. Because you understand now how the sentence structuring works. So it's not a crisis to an artist writer when the artwork is forcing the document to change its text. You don't have a huge approval pipeline to go through. It's just yeah, I want to make this happen, and you just change it on the page. Super easy. But not everyone has that option, because not everyone is writing and painting their own books all at the same time, or like being reliant on a layout artist. If you're reliant on a layout artist, now you have to worry about, well, if I make this change to the text because of how the image is going, now I have to make sure my layout artist gets the page fitting, the new text revisions sitting on the page properly to sync up with where the illustration is at. And that is all a massive pain in the ass. Which is why I prefer doing page layouts in Word, because that's where I go to put all my text in the first place. So it's just natural for me to want to stay inside the text editing tool while I move that text around, because I may have to move that text some more. And I know I can directly write into InDesign. And maybe it is an intuitive, easy process. I've just been resistant to it. I like the tools that I use, and Microsoft is cheap, and I think it's more approachable to the common public. I think more people have access to Microsoft Word and Excel for free, which are the only tools I need to be able to build my books, other than the artwork, of course. But then even exporting the pages and dropping them into Photoshop for me to be able to paint it's a really easy process with Word. So I don't know why I'm being so apologetic about using Word. I think it's awesome that it's a strong enough tool to be able to do all of this. I can tell I'm missing text. I should catch up. Yeah, it's not a replacement, definitely. Yeah, that human touch, you can feel it. For Enigma, the editor, marketer, artist, page layout, everything, yes. Yeah, right on. Yeah, right on. Glad to hear it. I'm glad my rambling is useful. That was the original goal of the channel, was talk about the process of building PDFs, regardless of what game system it is that you use. It all follows that same sort of, yeah, that same. Like if I decided to start doing Pathfinder, for instance, it's the path, the method wouldn't change at all. The only thing that would change is the mechanics and where I publish it. But I'm not into Pathfinder really. I am a 5e enthusiast, and as long as WotC doesn't sabotage creators being able to produce stuff, I will continue producing stuff for them until I'll eventually finish all the stuff, the mass combat mechanics, the kingdom mechanics, the guild mechanics, the Dragonlance conversion, the Descent into Avernus conversion, the Horde of the Dragon Queen conversion. It'll take me a few years, and they may, who knows, maybe they'll create another Magic the Gathering crossover book in that time. I have to update my color mana mechanics once 1D&D comes out to be compliant with the new system. Which is an opportunity for me to integrate Theros and Strixhaven into the core mechanics book. Instead of, inferring what those things are, I can start calling them out specifically, which has been a major goal of mine. But, I'm only one guy. I can only do so many things at one time. We were originally going to publish the mass combat system first, but we had just figured out how Infernal War Machine mechanics work in Descent into Avernus when July announced Spelljammer release in August. And at that point, I was like, well, let's just get as far as we can in this as possible. And once Spelljammer drops, let's figure out if our Descent into Avernus Infernal War Machine mechanics work with Spelljammer or not. And if they do, let's switch gears and get that specifically published. Spelljammer, before going back to the other 120 pages worth of mechanics that we've been developing. And sure enough, the mechanics work, and they work fucking great. So it was like, okay, well, this is our priority now, and we'll get back to the rest of it later. And then Dragonlance happened. I was like, well, crap, if we're going to do mass combat, this board game's a joke. So why don't we make sure these mass combat mechanics work well? I'll bite the bullet and buy the damn board game, so I can translate every encounter and every scenario in the board game into our 5e mass combat system. So instead of spending 120 or like $90 for the board game and $60 for Dragonlance, it's $150. Maybe you just spend like $30 with me and end up saving yourself $60. Like in a year or so when that actually publishes, and that's probably how long it's going to take, honestly. That kind of monetary decision making is going to be pretty freaking important to the people age 40 plus that tend to be my audience. Like while people have money, spending money on role playing games is a decent luxury. But if the economy gets more choppy, it's less likely people are just going to throw their money at role-playing games, which is why, again, I think it's so important to have 100% preview of your document so that you can earn their trust. I'm really happy with this. Still a little rough. What time is it? Do we have time to do cleanup? It's 7:50. Probably not. I'm probably actually going to leave it like this. That's fuck it. It's good enough for now. trash. When I come back to colorize, I might clean this up a little bit more, but the inspiration on this just died. Muse says I'm done with it. She just pulled out a cigarette. So she's done. I have a muse that lives inside of my heart, and she's the one that does all the painting. She also likes to speak for me sometimes. So she'll let me know when she's done with a piece, or, you know, if she wants to work more on it. And she's content with this for now. It's good enough. It is, after all, just a token. So, but that also finishes all the Theurgy art, the Theurgy bug challenge that we have, which was freaking awesome to build. I fucking love the Theurgy battle in Light of Xaryxis. It is super cool. But what are we? Okay, great. Now we're moving on to part 2, chapter 6, introducing Commander Crux, his crew aboard the Second Wind. And then after that, we'll have Hestane, the Rieger attack. So we have to do Hestane token artwork for her and her clone. And so we need Captain Crux, Mr. Finch, the Cultist pilot. We already have tokens for all the human pilots. Oh yeah, and the Trent. So those are the 4 crew that we need to build. And then we need Hestane, as well as, and then Topola and the Autonome. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That's 7 tokens that we need to create there. And then we're into the Vampirates. There's 4 Vampirates that we need, so that's 11. And then there's the 5 factions, 1, 2, 3, and the Arcane. So that's another 6. So that's 6, 10, 12. There's 17 more tokens that we need to build. So, and once we finish these last 17 tokens, that'll probably take us the rest of this week and next week and potentially the 3rd week. So we could potentially still be doing NPC token art into, Jesus, how long is that going to be? 1, 2. I have 15th through the 19th off of my day job. So I'll be able to stream like this. I typically only do 2 or 3 hour streams, but I won't have like, oh God, I got to start my job, so I got to quit now. And I won't have to worry about that. I can do like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, take some design time off for myself, jump back on for like a 3-hour lunch stream, log out, and then Monday night come back for Eberron, and then Tuesday have a morning and lunch and afternoon stream, and then Thursday have my evening stream as well, so I can have 3 streams on Thursday, and then 2 streams on Friday, and then Saturday like normal, and then I'll be back at my work week. So I'm wondering, I don't think I'm going to have all these tokens finished by the 15th, but I think I have a really good shot at having the book layouts done by the 15th. And if that's the case, then we're on to page art. Yeah, my time frames are collapsing on me pretty quickly here. Now, I'm actually excited. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited just because I have so many plates that I'm spinning on this project. And we're getting movement on the Eberron adventure as well. I think we're going to be seeing another probably a whole another act of that dropping into our plate for us to do cleanup on, probably mid-May as well. So I'm feeling a little intimidated about how much stuff is stacking up, but that's part of the process. So let it intimidate me until I can get a grip on a corner of it, and once I do, I can just claw my way into the heart of it and just start tearing it apart. And by the time I look up from the Blood Rage, there should be some progress. That's just kind of how it works. So yeah, Theurgy are super freaking cool. I love Theurgy. Theurgy, Umber Hulk, and Slaves is just they're just fucking cool. Let's see, where is it? Let's go to book creation. Let's go down to where is it? I'm surprised I'm having this hard a time finding the thing that I'm working on. Spell points, Theurgy, tap and tap burn. Mental key. In command, that's right. Vehicles. Spelljammer. Production. Blocks. Here's the Neogi Hunt map that we created for it. This is back, I think, like around episode 30 or something. Color. And hold on, I got text all over it. Here's a colorized asteroid map. And so this is your goal. You start here looking at the derelict. And this is an asteroid. This is an asteroid field converted into a dungeon. That they came in through here initially, but as they're exploring the Lucent Edict, the abandoned derelict nautiloid, in chapter 5 of the Light of Xaryxis, while they're in there, the asteroid belt shifts and closes off their escape route or their way back out. So they have to find their way through the maze, either to exit over here or exit over here. And then, of course, there's a Neogi that is using the Lucent as lure for salvagers, like your ship is, like literally you're salvaging it. So you're their target audience. So when you check it out, they invade you, and then each of these squares is a 500-foot scale. So you move your ships through the dungeon. You can move 10 squares. If you want to use an action to dash, you can move 10 squares per round. Otherwise, your ship movement is 5 squares. So your goal is to get from here, find your way through the maze, and either exit here or here. And each of these doorways that you move through, have shifting asteroids that, as you move through them, you have to make a piloting check. And if you fail the check, you take damage going through the door. But going through that door, you can increase the scale. So this becomes 1 mile squares. Like when you cross through this door here or here, it becomes 1 mile. And then when you cross through the door here, here, or here, it becomes 10 miles. And you cross through this door here or here, it's 100 miles. And then you cross out this door here or here to 1,000 miles squares, and that's your maximum speed. So once you clear this dungeon, you're actually moving at your full spelljamming per day speed, and that's when you run into the Space Galleon patrols that protect the outer perimeter of Day's reach of Rock of Brawl. And if you've gotten away from the Neogi, and if you feel like you've done enough damage to it, or you think you can take it, you can then lead the Galleon ships into the asteroid. You can lead them back in here to hunt the Neogi ship with a squadron of Galleons at your back. So you're now outgunning the Neogi, and if you destroy, or if you conquer the Neogi, you can salvage it and the Lucent Edict, take them both back to the Rock of Brawl. The ship itself is worth 80,000 gold, which is twice the cost of what you'd be able to sell it for. But you would also be able to rent or hire Commander of Crux's Second Wind for 40,000 gold if you're using the mechanics that we have per season. So the amount of money that you get for salvaging the reward for the Neogi ship is the exact amount of money that you could spend to hire Commander of Crux's ship for a 3-month tour. So it's really freaking convenient. It all works out that way, but it just happens to. So how do you make maps in Photoshop? I want to hand draw these SKT maps. Oh man, Storm King Thunder is cool. So we're at episode 120 right now. If you go back through the Spelljammer adventure of the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration playlist that I have, I want to say we started off with episode 1 is just looking at how Spelljammer works and how we can convert the mechanics. But I think by episode 10, we're building maps like this. So I go through the process of like the grids, the scaling, and then the layering process, and the line art. Like I make line art for everything so that you can have a low cost print option. So that, you know, if you're at the table and you don't want to spend it on color, you can. But I'm a Roll20 enthusiast, so everything I do is colorized and loaded into my Roll20 page for us to play test with. And we've ran this encounter a number, like 3 or 4 times, I think. So it plays out pretty good, and I'm happy with it. So like that let us, and then we had to do a couple different iterations of how this dungeon looks. But this is the skinny of it. So these different paths here and here and here, we had to sculpt how many spaces these take, so that you have basically, unless you get stalled out, basically 4 or 5 rounds is all you need to get out of this place. And then you can turn around and bring the galleys back in for a different encounter of 4 or 5 rounds as well, to catch up, conquer, and then take and then tow the Theurgy Death Spider out of here. But yeah, I walked through that whole process, and once we get to the village map for Eberron, which will probably be, I don't think it's going to be Thursday. I think it'll be Monday. We're going to start a week from now. We'll start on the village. You'll see that whole process start over again. Of here's the rough sketch, here's our scale of the map, and then start iterating details in the black and white. And then once those details are done, going back through and colorizing the whole thing. So I do all that process, and it'll probably take 15 sessions for the village for me to complete it. So there'll be plenty of time for you to check it out. But the Eberron playlist that I have, that's up to like around episode 120 as well. And that's almost nothing but cartography. It's like probably 100 episodes of cartography and like 20 episodes worth of like spot art and cover stuff. So you can just go through the playlist there. But again, I'll be firing up the next iteration with the village map, and I'll be going through the entire process again. So, and once we get into Dragonlance next year, I'll be building all the Dragonlance maps at the 5-foot scale, 50-foot scale, probably the 500-foot scale as well, to accommodate our mass combat system, depending on how that plays out. So we're gonna have to break apart Dragonlance, rebuild all the encounters to use the mass combat system, and then I'll have to start playtesting people through it to make sure it's fun as intended. So that'll probably be a 6-7 month process of going through that, starting probably in February through September. So most of the mass combat mechanics are good. I just need to have our editor clean up, but I can be doing the playtesting for Dragonlance specifically while we're doing that process. So that's the thought there. But my day is over, and I got to start my day job. So I'm going to bounce for now. I will be back in 11 hours to continue Eberron cartography, and I'll be back again tomorrow morning to do more NPC character art, and we'll leave with here's the Umber Hulk that we made on stream on Thursday. So I'm happy with that. But we're going to go ahead and leave it here. And I will see, I'll be back in 11. So I'll see whoever gets to be here. If you're new to the stream, thanks a lot for being here. Like and subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'm here 6 days a week doing this stuff. And be welcome to ask me anything. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.